Hey everyone, thanks for your support in 2024. We have a lot of cool stuff coming in 2025, and here are some of the things you can look forward to as we move into next year. In the lead up to The Mandalorian and Grogu in 2026, we'll be starting a full series rewatch of both The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett on exploring hyperspace lanes beginning in October. You can also expect a rewatch of Andor, and we will have reviews of every episode of Andor and the rest of the Skeleton Crew as those come out. Josie will be returning as we continue to rank every Star Wars thing released ever. Reviews of every episode of every Marvel Disney Plus show, including Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider Man, The Eyes of Wakanda, Wonder Man, Ironheart, Daredevil Born Again, and Marvel Zombies, the day after each episode releases, will be available on Beware of Spoilers. We'll be having special event podcasts on 30-minute reviews for the Academy Awards, our 2024 year in review in early January, ranking all of Phase 5 of the MCU after Fantastic Four First Steps comes out, and our 10th anniversary special. Once we complete our rankings of all the Pokemon games on the backlog files, we'll be moving on to Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. Over on the YouTube channel, you can join in for playthroughs of Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, Pokemon White, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts Recoded, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, Sonic Adventure 2, LEGO Racers 2, LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, and SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Want to keep on top of all the new things we have coming? Subscribe at mwpnews.com, subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/@mwpnews, or subscribe to Beware of Spoilers, 30-minute reviews, exploring hyperspace lanes, and the backlog files on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Again, thank you for your support. Good evening, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam, and we're here today to talk about the end of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which sounds vaguely threatening when I say it out loud like that. I probably should have written this down first. It sounds weird. You get what I'm saying, though. I mean, the new Disney Plus show that I think is among some of their best. And I don't think I'm alone in that assertion. I think that this is one of their better um, entries as since Marvel Studios has been going all in on the what's it called on the whole you know Disney Plus of it all, because corporate initiatives, we've talked about it before. This is probably one of their strongest entries, and coming off of where this show kind of started, I feel like that's a real win for them. Like, it's not something that, when we talk about where the show started, it doesn't have the greatest path to victory, so to speak. Like, this started as the origin story for, you know, Peter Parker in the MCU. It was meant to be like, let's tell the origin story for Tom Holland Spider Man, and like how he got his powers and what his first few years were like. And that was the thing, is that you get this like, this announcement, and then when they made the announcement, it's like, oh, and here's Nico Monaro, and here's this one, and it's like, oh, that's cool, like, you know, but how does that all kind of factor in, and how do we never reference any of this again? Like, it doesn't quite feel right as we're dealing with this, interconnected universe. And I think that the idea to transition it to, no, this is a multiverse story. This is a story set in an adjacent universe to the MCU, where it's like, it looks more like a comic book than what we're used to, and like, all the characters who show up look like their comic counterparts for the most part. And I think it's one of those things where it's the result we got makes a lot more sense than what was originally pitched. And considering how much, not development hell, but like how much work went into this show, I think it is, you know, I don't want to say miraculous. I think it is, a testament to this team that they brought this across the finish line as they did. Um, and we talk about this idea that, like, for such a small change, the small change being Peter Parker being trained by Norman Osborn instead of Tony Stark, both of whom are not dissimilar characters. It's just Tony Stark's a hero, Norman Osborn's a villain. But in terms of their archetype, they're not entirely dissimilar. They're both billionaire, titans of industry in the science sector who are, exploitative in what they do. And I think that to that end, this idea that we're going to have these two characters, and kind of juxtapose the path. And I think one of the things that really works about this show, is that it's grounded. It's a world that the idea that this is a Marvel Cinematic Universe adjacent show, allows it to feel like this is a world that Spider-Man organically lives in. The world of Spider-Man in the comics is here, and it's been here foundationally. And I think that's a big departure from the MCU proper. This feels closer to a comic, in the same way that X-Men 97 does, to a comic accurate universe. Whereas, it's not just oh, this is a Marvel universe that didn't have Spider-Man, then we're gonna pluck out Spider-Man and throw him in there too. No, this is Spider-Man and his mythology are baked into this universe. I like the idea of how he gets his powers in this world, and the thing that I like about it, on top of everything else that really works, is it gives you no information about how Tom Holland got his powers. That's a pretty big part of this idea that, this is a alternate series of events, but he never met, at no point does he meet, Doctor Strange and or anything like that. So how, he doesn't meet him until Infinity War. So, if that's the case, then, this can't possibly be anything even close to how he got his powers. Which leaves that still as a mystery. And I think that might be why they kind of, changed things for this and changed it away from what it was, what it was going to be. I think they did a great job of that. And giving us this, different but still similar world worked very well. The art style really grew on me. That was something that, I started out not being 100% on board for. I think in the first episode we talked about this. I said that, it feels like using Google SketchUp to make a TV show, which, feels unfair, and I think that a lot of it really worked, especially when you get into the later episodes. The art style really digs in and gets used in the general, storyline, and I think that does feel organic, and it adds to the story. Juxtaposing Lonnie and Peter Parker is a great decision, and I think they did a great job of it over the course of this show. I think we're going to continue to get the fall of Lonnie Lincoln as Peter Parker becomes, Spider-Man on a bigger scale. And I think that the end of this show really sets up that this world's going to be expanding. And I think that with 2 more seasons coming, they do a great job of that. They're going to continue this idea of Peter Parker and Lonnie Lincoln being separate entities that are on these parallel, or not parallel paths, but they are going to eventually get back to the point where they intersect and they fight. Lonnie Lincoln's going to be the final boss of this show, I think. Not Norman Osborn, not Doc Ock. Doc Ock's going to be the bad guy next season. Norman Osborn is going to be the mini-boss. The bad guy is going to be Lonnie Lincoln. Because the emotional resonance of that's going to hit. In a way that I don't think it's going to hit as well for Norman. So I think they have that really kind of planned out pretty well, just by looking at where the show leaves off. And this idea of, building out Webb is pretty cool. I like the idea of them kind of trying to, look for other people to help out in this, in Spider-Man's camp. And the idea that, we're going to move away from Oscorp is an interesting idea. For Marvel Animation, I think this leaves us at a weird place. I don't know if this is the best Marvel Animation show, because I think it's definitely the most recent Marvel Animation show. And I know it's not the worst, because it's not What If. So it leaves me in a weird place. Is it better than X-Men 97? I would say I feel like I enjoy this more than X Men '97 because I think that this plays more with the established canon in a way that X Men '97 doesn't have the opportunity. X Men '97 is playing with the existing universe of X Men, of the X Men animated series. This show is playing with the existing canon of the Spider Man comics history, of the Spider Man animated series history, of the Spider Man movie history. All of these things playing, and the MCU history, all coming together in one thing, and then using all of that information to be like, okay, people understand this story. They understand the origin story of Spider-Man, and they understand the origin story of Spider-Man in this take in this alternate universe where Tony Stark is taking him under his wing. How can we play with that and have that be different? And I think that this show does a great job of really setting us up in this alternate universe and really giving us the chance to do that. Where you get these moments with great power comes great respect moment where Osborn's the one who tells him that, him getting the suit from Harry and Harry being the one to say, "Go get him, Tiger." Like all of these things kind of work. His friendship with Lonnie Lincoln before Lonnie goes off and turns evil. Like all of these things work very well because we know so much about this character. Because we know everything there is to know about Spider-Man. You could take these deviations and go in other directions and do different things and have it work. And I think that that's the real strength of this show. In a way that X Men '97, yeah, they're playing with existing things, but they're not playing with them enough. And I think that the medium of animation allows you to take these risks in a way that you would be more averse to taking in live action, as evidenced by what we just saw in Captain America Civil War. Not Civil War, Brave New World, where they were clearly afraid to take a chance. But we'll wrap up there for today. This weekend we'll be talking about Win or Lose, the new Pixar long format thing from on Disney Plus. And then Saturday we'll be talking about Parthenope, the Italian movie that I've heard interesting things about. I think it was a festival selection that I heard a few times. We'll be talking about that this weekend, probably Saturday, but either Saturday or Sunday. But until then, have a great rest of your week.